Here's one called Will You Be Loving Another Man, Honey?
The lineup when we started Holiday Inn was myself, Bob Morris, Doyle Lawson, and Bobby Sloan. And then Bob Morris left, and that's when Red Allen came in.
Will you be loving another man? Will you be loving another man? When I return, you be waiting. Or will you be loving another man?
Well, the Holiday Inn was a fun gig. It really was. They would line up down the street into the parking lots trying to get in it, and
all the music that I'd heard in places like that were like a woman sitting there with a piano. I mean, real easy listening stuff. Nothing, no string music.
Check your diamonds, check your diamonds. I know you've grown cold. You've robbed my pockets of silver and gold. Oh, the cuckoo.
We were probably one of the first bands that ever went to the Holiday Inn, and with that type of music. And then to stay as long as we did, I don't think that's ever been equaled.
Hug me closer, mother, closer. Put your arms around me tight, for I'm cold and tired, dear mother. And I feel so strange tonight.
Larry Rice came into the band. It was because Bobby Sloan knew Larry and Tony and the whole family. And Bobby was telling me about Larry, that he was wanting to come back to this part of the country because he was in Los Angeles. So Bobby contacted him, and sure enough, he said he'd love to have the job.
Somehow tonight I feel lonely, my darling. Somehow tonight I feel blue. Somehow tonight these tears of mine keep falling. Come back, sweetheart, and be true.
Larry had a real baritone voice, and he could sing, had a good range, but his best range was from medium to a low range, and so we started experimenting with the trios, and so we wound up doing a lot of stuff with what we call inverted harmonies. We would reverse the order of the harmonies and put the high lead and the lead on top. And
of course, it was still the Kentucky Mountain Boys at that period in time.
You know, we know that the Osborne brothers, I don't want to not give them credit because that's something they came up with.
Of course, we had other things in mind, and maybe one of these days we're going to leave the Holiday Inn and do concerts and festivals, which we did. I think we worked like 8-9 months out of the year, and then we would leave during the summer or the late spring and play festivals and come back to the Holiday Inn, and I think in September after Labor Day.
She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox on the run.
Holiday Inn was a fun place to do, but you know, like any place else, I don't think there's a job in the world, any place in the world that is 100% plus. There's a few negatives along the way, and working 5 nights a week, pretty much 52 weeks a year. For me, it started wearing me down. It was like punching the clock. I went to the Country Gentleman in 1971.
She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox on the run. Thank you.
befriended Jimmy Goodrow and Eddie Hancock. The decision was made by Eddie that he wanted to start a full-time band with that configuration.
I had heard Tony with the Bluegrass Alliance, and he had told me that if you ever need a lead singer, a guitar player, let me know. And that stuck with me.
Jimmy Goodrow was leaving the Country Gentleman, and that meant that Doyle came in to replace Jimmy Goodrow in the Gentleman. And so that left that void in Crowe's band.
I think I have this policy: I will not deliberately hire somebody from another band. They have to quit before I will ever approach them.
It really had me in a precarious position because I'd sort of made the commitment to Hancock and Jimmy.
He told me he was leaving that particular band.
Or the real musical configuration that I wanted to play in was with J.D. Crowe.
And in '71, he left the Bluegrass Alliance.
Emerson was the one that told me that basically what I would have to do to satisfy my own soul was to follow my own instincts and go ahead and take a job that I wanted to take, which was with J.D. Crowe, and so I did.
In '71, Doyle had left to join the Country Gentleman. Tony Rice was coming into the band, and I wanted to change it to something other than the Kentucky Mountain Boys.
Crowe and I were in a Winnebago camper, and he was driving late one night, and I remember him saying that he wanted to change the name of that band.
To a name that wouldn't really label you, that you could play whatever kind of music you want and it would still fit.
Kentucky Mountain Boys could only be one thing, a bluegrass band.
So that's how the band, the name was changed.
To this day, I don't know where he came up with the name, the New South. But I do remember that I liked it a lot, and I liked what it represented. It was a good call on his part. Larry left in '74 to go with Dickie Betts. Sam had came and replaced Larry, I think, for a couple of weeks.
Meanwhile, I had heard Ricky at numerous times out at festivals. And Ricky was with the Country Gentleman. He worked with them for a while. And then he had quit.
When I got the call from J.D., I told him, I said, look, me and Keith Whitley want to put together a band, and at some point we're going to do that. And, that really never, ever happened. He said, well, could you come here and just stay until you did? And I said, that sounds like a good plan.
It was a lot of work. I mean, there were times when we were doing 4 sets a night, 6 nights a week. I think we were lucky that we had